What's up, board game people? Another week in the books, and another load of interesting and exciting news to look into. There's so many projects en route to backers, delays, and big new projects on the horizon. It's all worth a look. So let's go. Thank you to all the members of my Patreon. My content is unpaid and unfiltered, and that's in large part thanks to their support. I'm so lucky to have you all with me. So live on crowdfunding now, we have Marvel United on Kickstarter, who's begun to roll out the expansions and add-ons. I told you this would get expensive. They've added several expansions, team decks, and a new playmat. Marvel United has 2 weeks remaining on their campaign. Once Upon a Line has blown past their funding goal, and they still have a week left to go. A Butterfly's Breath was just the beginning. They've added a whole new collection of expansions to the core game, titling it The Butterfly's Flight. Stay tuned for a hot take video coming up for this project very soon. New on Gamefound this week, we saw Batman Escape from Arkham Asylum launch. This is already funded and has several new characters added to the game through stretch goals. There are just under 2 weeks left for Batman. We also have Witchbound, a small and enchanting game that launched on Gamefound and funded very quickly. It's now working towards its third stretch goal and it seems to just keep growing. This is a game I want to take a closer look at for sure. Witchbound has just under a month remaining. Coming up this week, on Gamefound we'll see the launch of Andromeda's Edge. This is a game I'm extremely excited for, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. Sadly, last week we saw the cancellation of the Phantom Epoch campaign. The project wasn't performing as well as they'd hoped, so they gathered the feedback and will be taking everything into consideration as they prepare to relaunch the project in the upcoming months. They hope to launch at a better price point with some of the stretch goals included off the bat, better shipping prices, and more. I'll be sure and let you know when that happens. Now, on to the news. The Pledge Manager is finally closing for Stormsunder, Heirs of Ruin. In fact, it's likely already closed by the time I publish this video. They're locking things down in order to get final production numbers for Wave 1 of production. There's 17 minis remaining to have final samples completed and mailed, and 17 minis in the mail now for approval. Testing is ongoing with big strides being made in the solo mode. Solo mode has become a twisted version of Texas Hold'em, giving a player a pool of common cards to build their hand from for each hero. This method has had some tweaks and rule changes, but testing it has seen it to be fun and dynamic. They've spoken a bit about Wave 2 timelines. Nothing firm yet, but they want to assure everyone that while Wave 2 is still massive, many of the kinks have been worked out between them and Longpack, and they're hoping to have Wave 2 run much smoother. They also gave their reasoning for continuing to participate in projects beyond Milan Uprising and Stormsunder. But long story short, their sculptors need work and they need money to continue rolling while they finish their 2 huge projects. To finish out an overloaded update, they leave us with some of the most recent mini samples. The Pledge Manager for Unconscious Mind is opening very soon. They've been adjusting to account for initial feedback, and the Pledge Manager is shaping up to look great. The update gives us a quick preview of what the Pledge Manager is looking like, and then we get a glimpse of the sleeves for Endless Winter and the price for Unconscious Mind sleeves. During the Chinese New Year break, they're all eyes on development. More news from the Elden Ring camp. This update covers the Pledge Manager news, letting us know it'll launch around the end of February, and they will confirm the date next month. Design and development and polish are all continuing, and behind-the-scenes insights are on the way. Fresh news from the Chronicles of Drunagor Apocalypse. They are going to be presenting an updated timeline in an upcoming update, so we'll keep our eyes out for that. This update details the game trays that are shaping up to look great and conserve space in the best ways possible. It looks like most of the trays have lids, and those lids are even functional organizers to keep the tiles and components orderly during play. On the miniature front, they're showing off a multitude of product samples they've received from eStar. The miniatures are looking great, and they seem to have retained much of their intricate detail. They give us a glimpse on the pole monster, the Nagian Hunter, whose mini may be one of my favorite from the campaign. Their tabletop simulator version is getting some major updates as well to include all 23 starter heroes, a better layout for easier play, and eventually some Apocalypse content and much more. They end by presenting a sneak peek at the adventure book and the rulebook. If anyone is interested in proofing or reviewing the final rulebook, send them an email to the address in the update and tell them you want to help out. Mythwind has updated their timeline to show that the game is now in production. They're still gathering all the info and they should be able to give more accurate date estimates soon. The rulebook is posted for review, and a Google form will allow you to submit feedback. The pledge manager for this project will close on February 7th. They give us a preview of the digital samples for the game, which look fantastic, and they were kind enough to include a full card count for the sleevers. Finally, they show off the tray system included in the box, which should assist with fast setup and teardown times. Atomic Mass Games has dropped yet another rulebook for Star Wars Legion. It's great to see them finally updating everything, and hopefully they keep providing updates for free as downloads. Company of Heroes is back with news on the path forward. The pledge manager will be opening in March and stay open for at least a month. They're expecting that the project will be delayed by 3 to 6 months from the original estimate, but they'll know better in March. The game itself is in good shape and the design is finalized, and work on the translations has been started. They're now moving refunds to a pretty painful 65% for any new refund requests from now until the close of the pledge manager. Finally, in memorial to Chris, they've created a new commander card in his honor. Zerywia posted a recap of 2022 and their plans for 2023 this week. 2022 saw a massive increase in material costs across the industry, and combined with raising last-mile shipping costs, became a 1-2 punch affecting both game producers and backers alike. For Zerywia, they've completed all the EU and UK shipments for the last campaign, and US shipments should be completed this month. For 2023, they've centralized all the production to Roclaw, and now they have much more control and can experiment with different materials and production processes. Today, they're showing off some of the first models for Zerywia Quest. They're committed to paving their own way forward and keeping production fully in Poland despite offers from China. They're renegotiating their shipping contracts, and they're keeping the late pledges open for the reprint until the end of February. Printing is set for some time this coming summer. Nova Aestus Renaissance is set for big deliveries this year. Wave 1 will continue through the production process as soon as Chinese New Year's is over. NAR will remain LMS exclusive and will not be repackaged for retail. The project has become too massive for that to become a reality. It'll be available through their website, but this will likely be at lower stock levels until a reprint is necessary. This Kickstarter was not the end of NAR either. They're already formulating plans to continue the game through new expansion boxes and virtual expansions available through the web app. This update focuses in on the Minotaur expansion. This expansion adds in a new secondary hunt type mission. They show off many of the cards and the miniature for the expansion. Finally, we get a look at the current timeline for Wave 1, showing fulfillment in May and June of this year. The Great Wall reprint games are on the seas, and tracking links are available for many of the ships. In the US, the ship is due in port on February 4th. In the EU, on the 26th, Canada on the 28th, Australia on the 3rd, and they don't have details for the Asian hub just yet, but they'll know more after Chinese New Year. Pre-orders for the new Star Wars Shatterpoint miniatures game will be available on January 31st. It's looking like the core box will contain 16 miniatures representing both the Republic and the Empire. Models for the Idols of Torment campaign are now available for sale to the public. You can pick up the STLs on myminifactory.com, and if you'd like physical models, they're available on only-games.co. Skyrise is still not happy with the wash samples for the game, so they're not being shown just yet. Instead, we got a look at the draw bag, which is embroidered and looks quite nice. More on this project after Chinese New Year. The Queen's Dilemma is sending out codes for the King's Dilemma Chronicles video game. If you ordered a copy, you should be getting a Steam code very soon. The official release date is January 30th. Shipping of Etherfields language versions is officially and finally underway. The first ship is due in port on the 19th of February. Another ship should hit on the 28th, and the final one hitting port in Toronto on the 26th of February. Dungeons of Doria has given us a full unboxing of the latest prototype. There are several issues with this version of the game that will be reworked in the final version. There were some print quality issues that were likely due to it being a digital print. Some minor token issues, and dice and plastic standees aren't in the final form yet. A bigger box may be needed to hold all of this goodness, but thank the gods for the plastic insert, and I'm sure they'll make it fit. Check out the full unboxing at the link in the update. The Monster Boss deck, proofreading, and German translations are still in progress. It's great to see this all becoming physical, and I can't wait to dive in and share it with you all. Ravensburger Games will be releasing the Lord of the Rings Adventure Book game in 2023. It will initially be exclusively available at Target in February, and then move to a wider release in August of this year. The game comes with cards, counters, and other components, and plays solo or up to 4 players with approximately 20-minute play sessions. It should be selling for around $35 at release. The Pledge Manager for Forsaken is live again. They had a few minor hiccups, but those were worked out, and everyone can hop in and finalize their pledges now. If you have questions or are having issues with your pledge, be sure and check out this update to begin with. As for those extras they were adding into the Pledge Manager, it seems to be a set of their X-trays to help organize any game that you might need help with. Solar 175 has posted their newest update, and now seems like as good a time as any to talk about the Fun Again logistics issues. We'll get right back to Solar 175. Fun Again Logistics is closing their doors very soon and will no longer be delivering new projects. This has thrown a wrench in many crowdfunding campaigns that had contracts with Fun Again. Thankfully, they're trying to help those projects find alternate arrangements. This has likely been a long time coming, and while it was sad to see them go, and horrible that project creators are now having to scramble in their wake, I have full confidence that most issues will be worked out and land in the hands of better fulfillment companies. So Solar 175 is falling victim to this event, but they're on the ball and already looking for a new shipping partner. The bad news is they weren't able to ship the games out before Chinese New Year. You need somewhere for those games to go, and with the sudden closure, it wasn't possible to find alternate arrangements this quickly. As I said, Solar 175 will likely be the better for not getting tangled in Fun Again's constant delays. To hold us over, they're showing off some great shots of the full version of the game. Teburu and the Bad Karmas has dropped a production update with a set of goodies for backers. Manufacturing has been pushed until after Chinese New Year, but they're still aiming for fulfillment by the end of spring or early summer. This is going to be a tight timeline. This update both shows off and offers the terrain pack for backers. The terrain in the box will be cardboard, but for some of the adventurous backers, they've released the STLs for the terrain for you to print at your discretion. Finally, they show off the updated progress graphic, which is filling in quite nicely. The Euthia Resurrected campaign is showing off the updated clear elemental miniature samples. The fire elemental still needs some tuning to get the color right, and the corrupted elementals are still to come. The Pledge Manager for Euthia Resurrected will be closing on March 17th. So you still have a bit of time if you want to squeak a pledge in. A quick update from CMON on the Marvel Zombies project shows color samples of the box and plastic components. I don't know about you all, but I much prefer wooden or acrylic cubes to these odd, opaque plastic ones. Harakiri is back again, this time with some good news. The game boxes are ready. They show the full lineup of 5 big boxes, and then a close-up of the back of one, which features an amazing piece of artwork filled with all the creepiness we've come to expect from the project. They gave us a look at some of the tools from Jubai's Curse and a closer look at the Flying Tengu board in miniature. The Tengu has abilities such as Gust of Wind, which can knock characters down, Headseeker, which applies a bleed effect, and Overflight, which allows it to get out of melee range and recover a bit of health. This update contains a new section that gives us some painting tips and tricks for the miniatures. Finally, they end with a full overview of the community-made scenario. This will be for characters level 5 and up, with high difficulty, a long duration, a mystique theme, including the ally Nyx, and pit you against the Dark Shogun and his allies. Next month, we'll see an update to the progress tracking chart. The SAS Rogue Regiment team has begun smoke testing the Pledge Manager, which will begin in earnest very soon. Some surprise add-ons are available, such as the Black Ops Pearl logo dice, sleeves, and some past games from their catalog. Vampires Masquerade's Milan Uprising is celebrating 4,000 followers of the campaign, showing off the awesome free Prospero Prince of Milan miniature that you'll get for following and then backing the campaign. Mike Nutt has been revealed as the lead writer on the project. Mike has been a writer for the World of Darkness universe since the very first release. He should support this very narrative-heavy game quite well. He also helped with some of the writing for Chapters, which is making its way to backers now. Milan Uprising should launch in the first half of 2023. Frosthaven is offering a fulfillment update. In between patting themselves on the back, they're praising their shipping partners. More than several games have recently been listed for sale in my area, and with only half the US games having gone out, it's quite frustrating that this has been seen repeated across the globe. This might be a big fulfillment, but it's moving painfully slow. In Asia, the games are at VFI Warehouse and are preparing to ship. In the EU and the rest of the world, some add-ons have caused delays, and they're splitting shipping where possible to get the games out. In the UK, Spyro Galaxy has shipped everything they have on hand, and they're waiting for more containers. In Australia and New Zealand, again, add-ons have caused delays, and they're splitting shipments where possible. In Quatro City news, most backers have completed their surveys and production is beginning soon. They'll be sharing pictures of the process very soon. They've swapped from developing a website to creating an application for the puzzle and game. What a week! I was a little bit late this week, but I'm back and the videos don't stop here. Be on the lookout for my month in review and a hot take on the Once Upon a Line campaign coming up very soon. In fact, this week is full of great videos. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. Thank you to everyone watching and commenting. I'll talk to you all very soon.